Refashioning is about taking old, unwanted pieces of clothing and giving them a new life. It's about pulling those shirts from the back of your closet that you never wear, or those $5 dresses hanging on the thrift store rack, and transforming them with a pair of scissors, a sewing machine, and an open mind. My name is Callie, and I'm on a mission to create the ultimate upcycled wardrobe, one project at a time. Today I'm going to show you how to take a slightly oversized, slouchy button-up shirt, something that you'd probably typically wear in fall, and turn it into something that's cute and easy, lightweight, and perfect for summer. So first, we're going to lay down our shirt on the ground, right sides together, and you're just going to line up that placket, so where the button and the buttonholes meet. Just button the shirt up inside out and get that placket laying flat. And we're just going to pin that together down the whole front of the shirt. This is an easy, simple trick to get rid of the button front of a shirt. And instead we're just going to make it look like a regular blouse. Then we're going to take that to the sewing machine and we're just going to sew down the front of the blouse. This is still inside out, mind you. And you'll see I'm just making sure I'm sewing to the left of the placket and not catching it in my seam at all. Next thing, we're just going to remove those two front pockets that were on the shirt, just using a seam ripper. Now we're going to throw that shirt onto a dress form, or if you have a person there helping with you, and then we're just going to remove that collar and cut the neckline that we want. So you can make this a scoop, a V, you can make the neck higher or lower, however you want it to be. And then we're going to chop the sleeves, just shorten them to our desired length. Next, we're going to make adjustments to the fit of the shirt. So just try on your shirt, mark where you want it to come in. This part is totally up to you, how much you want to take in, or leave it loose or more fitted, whatever you want. Just make those marks, pin down the sides and the sleeves, and then take it to the sewing machine and sew. For my shirt, I took in the bottoms of the sleeves and down the sides about 1/4 inch on each side. Now we're going to finish the edges of the sleeve. So for my sleeves, I wanted to do a rolled up kind of look. So I just folded it from the wrong side up to the right side twice. So just a double fold, iron that in place, and then I'm going to sew that. And then at the same time, we're just going to fold up the bottom of the shirt and iron and pin for our hem. And sorry, I clearly did not realize that my phone was in the shot. So after we have those two areas pinned, we'll take our shirt to the sewing machine and we'll just finish that hem and also the sleeves and just sew those rolled sleeves in place. The next thing we're going to work on is our neckline. So one of my tricks for finishing a neckline, a really easy way, is simply to make bias tape and wrap it around the neckline and sew in place. Super simple, it's a cheat, I know, but it works and it's really easy. So for this, we're going to take that excess sleeve fabric and we're just going to cut several strips that are 2 inches wide. Once you've got those 2-inch strips, you're going to sew them all together so that you just have one long piece of fabric. So then you're going to take that piece to the ironing board, and we're going to start folding one side into the middle, ironing, and then pin it down while it cools, and then take the other side, fold it over to meet in the middle, iron, and pin again. And then once you have those all ironed in, then you're going to fold the whole thing in half, and then iron as well. And then you have your double fold bias tape. And please note, this is not actual legit bias tape. You'll know I'm not cutting on the diagonal, but it's just kind of a cheater's version for the neckline. So then you take that bias tape over to your shirt, which is now on a dress form, and you see me doing this here. You just simply tuck the neckline in between the double fold. So you just wrap that bias tape around the neckline and pin it in place, and make sure you're stretching as you go. This will help the neckline to lay flat and not pucker after you sew it in place. So now we're just going to take that neckline over to the sewing machine and sew that bias tape down to the neckline. Next, we're going to make some ties for the front of our blouse. So I just took some more excess fabric and I started cutting strips that were about 1¼ inch thick. I ended up cutting out 8 strips just because I needed to piece them together, but all in all, you just need 4 strips that are about 12 inches long. So you can do that if you have enough fabric to cut those, or if you need to piece things together like I did. Like you can see here, I sewed sets of 2 together. So then you're going to place those strips on top of each other, right sides together, so that you have 2 ties. And we're going to just pin those together. So these strips that you see me working with here were about 12 inches long. So they were 4 pieces put together, if that makes sense. And once you have those pinned, you're going to sew around almost the whole way, but you want to leave one little section open so that we can turn these ties right side out. So once those are sewn in place, we're going to just work with that piece of fabric to get it turned right side out. And this can be tricky, especially when we're working with something this narrow. But you just kind of have to play with it, work with it. Using something like a paintbrush, like you'll see me using here, is really helpful to kind of push the fabric through and get it laying flat. Once you have that all turned right side out, just iron it flat at the seams. Okay, so at this point we're going to try on our shirt and we're going to map out where we want our ties to sit. So I kind of pulled down straight from the chest area on both sides and kind of pulled that fabric together and pinned those 2 spots. And I wanted my tie right about at the waist level. So once you have those pinned, we're going to take the ties that we just made and attach those to the front of the shirt with pins where we previously marked when we were wearing the shirt. And then you're going to take that to the sewing machine and sew those down. And this is the very last step, guys, so we are just about done. Alright, let's take a look at the final transformation.